What's up guys, today we're going to be installing the HQ Motorsports coil overpack. It's a conversion kit. This one specifically is for the M42 engines found in the E30s. Going to give a brief overview of the kit. So essentially in the kit you get the bracket that the coils bolt to, nice instructions, all the hardware, and you also get 4 coils, with one specifically noting that the number 1 coil has to be machined in order for it to fit into the bracket. Okay, so per the kit, we're going to locate the 4 spark plugs on the engine. In the kit and online, they note that the number 1 spark plug is the one closest to the oil filler. So we're going to go from there back, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 being closest to the firewall. If you can see from factory, they have an ignition coil unit, and so you have to follow these leads to the corresponding spark plug. So you just follow each spark plug wire to their existing plug, and then these corresponding electronic plugs will plug into the coil packs once we install those. So now I'm going to start tearing this apart and put in a little time-lapse mode of, taking this apart. Okay, so it's a little hard to video this and show you exactly what's going on, but basically, in the middle of the valve cover, you have a bolt, washer, and a grommet set up. And there's 2 of them. So in order to get the new bracket to bolt, so we can bolt our coils, they give you a threaded stud, and then they also give you a kit with nuts, washers, a rubber grommet that looks pretty much like what comes off the factory bolt, and then you have to stack these together. And I'll make a stack once I get the first one done and give you a representation of what that looks like. Okay, so like I said, I was going to show you exactly what I've done so far. So like I said, this is the factory bolt that goes in the middle that bolts down the valve cover. And so the HQ Motorsports kit comes with a threaded rod. So you start with the grommet, you put a bigger washer on it, and then you put a nut down on it to hold the grommet in place and to also hold the valve cover down. And then essentially what this extended threaded rod allows is for you then to bolt the coil pack bracket on top of that. Alright, so next step is I'm going to put this other threaded rod in, and then I'm going to begin the process of putting the bracket down, which then requires the addition of a nylon spacer before putting that plate on. And then after doing that, we'll undo the coil wires, and we'll put the coil packs in and match the corresponding wires to the coils. Okay, so I have to remind myself when doing these videos to stop and explain what I'm doing. So basically what I've done so far is took the factory bolts out from the top of the valve cover. I have installed threaded rod provided from the HQ Motorsport kit. That's complete with a grommet, a nut, a nylon spacer, followed by a washer and a nylon lock nut that holds the plate down to the valve cover. I've since located the modified number 1 coil and placed it in the number 1 spot. and I've since bolted up coil 2 and 3. I've also gone through my factory coil, ignition pack I should say, which is over here. And I know it's not required and this is self-explanatory. This is just me not wanting to have any mistakes. I used some whiteout and I put a dot on 1, 2, left 4 blank, and then put a 3. That way I knew which coil needed, or which wire goes to which coil. It'll just help me in case, you know, if I'm fumbling around and I forget. It's just one of those things I like to be proactive instead of reactive. So now what I'm going to do is figure out if I'm able to put these wires on with the coils in place, or do I need to take coil 2 and 3 back out in order to put the wire in. Okay, so what I've done is, as expected, the coils were in the way, so I had to unbolt coil 2 and 3 in order to put the wire to 1, and then I reinstalled 2, put the wire to it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install coil 3, and then I will run the wire to it, and I will install coil 4, and the last little bit I'm going to do is unbolt the bracket that's holding the previous spark plug wires in place, and fingers crossed this thing will fire up. Alright, so we have successfully installed the bracket, the 4 coils. We have removed the wires from the ignition coil pack that came with the car. We have trimmed the heat sheathing just very minutely back so that the wires would reach. Then I have plugged all of them into the corresponding plugs, and I have also zip tied them in place. So next up, we're going to get cleaned up. We're going to reconnect the battery, and we're going to see if this thing will fire up. Alright, let's see if the thing fires up after the coil unplug conversion. Running pretty good. I'm going to take it down the road and